Innovation in the field of design is something that's not often talked about, but it's an exciting and important field, one that can combine the past with the future. And that's why I'm so excited for my next guest, Lavi Furniture Industries, which is a world leader in designing and creating furniture and furnishings for synagogues, having enriched over 5,300 Jewish communities over the past 5 decades. And here to tell us more about this is Evyatar Dor from Lavi Furniture. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
So let's jump right in. Can you tell us a little bit about Lavi and what exactly you do?
So Lavi is a carpentry belonging to the kibbutz of Lavi, located near Tveria in the lower Galilee. It's been there for almost 60 years and doing furniture for synagogues, shuls, whether it's the seating systems or the Klei Kodesh, what we call, which is the Holy Ark, the podium, the partitions, whatever it takes to have inside the shul. Working from scratch, meaning involved in designing, in planning together with the customers, understanding their style and aspirations, all the way to final installation. Yeah.
So before we talk about the process, I'm curious to know about the history, how this came about, and the need for such an endeavor.
So it's really nice story because basically, like in every other kibbutz, there was a local carpentry that was making furniture for the members of the kibbutz. But a neighboring community called Sdei Ilan, which is a moshav really nearby, around 60 years ago, built their new synagogue for their moshav. And they came to the Lavi's carpentry to ask if they can come up with kind of a piyur, of a bench for their shul. So they worked and did some, trials, and they ended up with the models that we're actually using nowadays. And of course, it's been through improvements and upgrades, but it went so well that they thought, okay, this is a nice niche to start, growing into. And we ended up doing, 5,300 shuls from Tahiti to Melbourne, basically, all over the world. Yeah.
So that's a lot of synagogues that you've done. Do you have any favorites, any highlights?
Ooh, yeah, well, there's one nice story, I think. I think it was quite famous. There's a community in the Forest Hill, Toronto, okay, that some of their members were Holocaust survivors from Poland, a small community called Jaslo that was unfortunately destroyed during the Holocaust. And they had some photos of black and white of their old shul, and they really wanted
of the synagogue in Poland.
Of the synagogue in Poland, and they really wanted to rebuild the shul there in Canada, in Toronto. And a very long process of basically redesigning the whole shul based on the pictures that we had, and ended up with marvelous work that was very, very moving, not only pretty for its own. We're actually doing the same thing right now in Lübeck in Germany, really close to the northern border of Germany. A synagogue there that was not destroyed during the Kristallnacht, but emptied, and all the interior was completely destroyed. And we're doing the same thing, reconstructing what we know that was there before destruction. On the other end, we have new communities that are growing all over the world, whether it's London. We just finished installing a synagogue there belonging to Chabad, Lubavitch Synagogue, that was built after Gabi and Rivki Holzberg that were murdered in Mumbai, Chabad Shluchim. So they wanted to have the wow effect, right? So we did something really marvelous with it. You can see the partitions in the background, something that involves, dark blue and natural beech wood and silver. Turned up to be very, very nice. Mm-hmm. So I think every synagogue is unique, and there is nothing that is not custom made. Eventually, every synagogue has its own aspiration and style, and you have to understand exactly what the customer needs. I think one of the challenges are the partitions when we come to Orthodox communities, how you see and you don't see, levels of restrictions, and whether it's going to generally going to traditional style like the old days, carvings and beaten brass, or going more to the modern time, something more contemporary, whether it's laser cut metal or wood, or stained glass. So it's really nice to go through this process with customers. And I have to say, we have customers that only after 15 and 10 years we end up with the final product. It's a long process. And sometimes it's just like like that. So it's a lot of involvement of a lot of people, I guess.
And I want to talk about a shul that you recently built in Jerusalem, the Herzog Shul, which I understand is also 100% accessible.
Right, so this is one of my favorite actually, because I'm coming from ergonomy point of view, so I think this is really important to make every aspect of life accessible to everyone. And Lavi for years was working on developing all kind of solutions for people in wheelchairs or disabled in other ways to be part of the ceremony of the tefillah in the synagogue. And then came to us Dr. Ken, basically the general manager of the hospital, Herzog Medical Center, and he said he wants to do a fully accessible shul in the hospital. It was really, really interesting challenge and ended up with a beautiful solution whether a person in wheelchair can really do the whole process of being involved, whether it's, of course, having his own seat, which doesn't have to have a seat but has to have enough room for the wheelchair to go in, with the opening shelf, whether it's the width, the aisles between the pews to be enough spacious for him, whether it's the ark, the Holy Ark, the Aron Kodesh, that he actually can go on his wheelchair all the way to the ark to open it on his own because it's low enough but not blocking the way for the wheelchair to go underneath, with the scrolls, the Sifrei Torah, standing on drawers so he can actually pull them towards himself, take them and then roll himself.
So you've really thought of every detail here.
We actually thought of everything, including even incorporating hearing aids within the lectern where the cantor stands, or in the bima, which is basically the table that the scroll is lying on. And you can, by using a pedal, raise it up or lower it, so it can really fit everyone. What we ended up seeing is that by adjusting everything to people that are on wheelchairs or disabled, people that are not specifically disabled are also enjoying those developments, because if you're tall and it's not comfortable to bend over and lean or read from the Torah, then you can just lift it up and it's much easier. And the same for many other aspects. So I think this is a beautiful project that I strongly believe is going to spread around because communities have to understand that people on wheelchairs are fundamental part of our communities, and everything should be accessible for them. And I think people can see it and really understand how nice it looks and how practical it is.
Absolutely. Well, Evyatar, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Nice being here. Thank you very much.